And the pot calls the kettle black, calls the kettle burnt, calls her mad. Kettle reminds the pot that we both been burned on the same stove, that the parts of our bodies that are layered in soot were scorched by the same hands. Kettle tells pot that she still boils water, holds the hot breath of a white man's tongue, endures the slow simmer of a white woman's allyship, and still we make something beautiful. Pot calls the kettle wicked, and kettle says no, but says she's so magical she burned the hand of the last man who tried to pour himself a piece of her. Says she's so black she is everything, so black she is the beginning. Around you and still be sanctuary for someone, saving men who lost themselves the night before, saving men who curse our names but forget his mama is made of steel too. And now the pot has no words but calls the kettle bitter, but loves the glass pan, the fine china, loves all the exotic shit white men put behind glass casings, loves how fragile things not made of steel can be. But this isn't about the pot or the pan. This is about the kettle, the black woman, how she pours herself across the earth, but no one bats an eye when the water disappears. We give ourselves to men who never love us, but they say we are difficult, too hard to break. How we, the kettle, praise this pot, this man for all the water he holds. How we are the only ones who do not call him monster when the water boils over, because we know this heat, this white flame, hot enough to make any of us explode. We are the first ones to make noise when the world goes up in flames. But they say the earth was saved by the man who heard her scream. Pot calls the kettle black, and kettle says yes, but says you best remember you black too. The next time they bring a fire to your neck, they burn black bodies on the stake and the stove. Pot calls his bones when he tried to test me. Pot calls the kettle black, and kettle says, hey, but don't say my name as if you ain't ever been burnt too.
All right, microphone check, 1, 2. That was Asia Bryant Wilkerson, and we are going to keep it going, everybody. Here we go.
I just want to first give a very quick disclaimer that if you are someone that is suffering or dealing with domestic violence or an abusive partner, please, please, please seek help. I know it can be very hard to do, and I know it can be very frightening, but please seek help. And what do not allow yourself to remain in that situation with anyone. What it do, Anne-Marie Groove. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you are new to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button. If you've been here rocking with me, welcome back. Before we get into today's video, please give this video with a friend so that you get notified every time your girl posts a new video.
Right. Make sure you hit those post notifications, not only on her channel, but my channel too. Here we go.
Make sure you're subscribed to Anne-Marie Tales, okay? Join Anne-Marie crew because you need to get down. All right, we're gonna get straight into this video. I just want to first give a very quick disclaimer that if you are someone that is suffering or dealing with domestic violence or an abusive partner, please, please, please seek help. I know it can be very hard to do every way. No reason, okay? Not because you think things are going to get better. Do not alarm or relationships with others. So that is a disclaimer. If you are currently involved in any type of domestic violence relationship, please, 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 please. You don't have to leave a comment on this video, but please write me. Please follow me on social media. All of my social media accounts are linked in the description in this video. Please reach out. Honestly, can't even tell you how many times I have tried to record this video. I've been
Here we go. This is Anne-Marie. Here we go.
It's 2022 right now, okay? So please bear with me. I feel compelled and I feel like God is calling me and telling me to share this story so that I can save someone. So I am sharing my story with you all, with the world, not for attention, not for sympathy, but simply to help someone. Even if this only helps one person, I just pray to God that it brings someone out of this type of situation. So this is going to be a different type of video. This is not your average video where I'm being playful, being happy, funny, giving you all some good advice. I am going to give some advice, but this is a very, very, very raw, real, and emotional video today. Be prepared. Okay. I am going to do my best together video because I want to get through the video. I want to share my story with you all, and I'm going to be completely honest. I'm not going to mention any names other than myself in this story, and him. I'm not making this video to bash anyone. I'm not making this video to blame anybody for anything. I'm always 100% wanting to take accountability for my relationship, right? So I'm not doing any of this out of ill intent or anger. I am literally just sharing my story because God called me to share this story with you all. I have this platform, and I may not have a super large platform, but I do have this platform. I created this platform, and I feel obligated to share this story. So I'm just going to give a background on how everything led up to what it became and where I am today. I was in high school when I first started dating my ex. That's what I'm gonna say. Yeah, my ex, him. I'm referring to the same person throughout this story, right? So, what I believe I was in ninth grade, freshman in high school when I first started dating him. Was so head over heels over this boy. And I just want to say things were good. Things were good. We were high school lovers, right? So the typical high school stuff is the things that we used to do. We would be together all the time. We would go out on dates. We would go to the movies. We would go to the mall. We would spend time at each other's house. If you know me and you know my parents, my family, they are not the type to allow a guy to be over my house. They're not those type of parents. They were never those type of parents. So yeah, it may have been a few times where they would let him come over, but most of the time it was a lot of sneaking around. And I mentioned this because it's very, very, very important within this story. So a lot of times we would go do things, but a lot of times I'd be over his house and be spending time with him, or I would be secretly spending time with him, saying I'm going to my friend's house or somewhere. Oh, when I started driving, it was a wrap. I was with him all the time. So definitely really, really, really cared about him. Loved him. Remind you, I'm a teenager. I'm in high school. I don't know no better, right? But definitely really cared about him. Loved him for sure. So we were together all throughout high school. All 4 years of high school, we were together. There were plenty of times where we were off and on. There would be other people in the picture. He'd be messing with someone else. I'd be messing with someone else. We wouldn't be together. I'd find out different things about different people and vice versa. That was what it was, right? But we loved each other. I feel like I can honestly say we loved each other. So, as the years went by, a lot of things happen as you're growing up and you're in high school. You're experiencing so many different things. You're around different people. You're learning different things about yourself, about your body. So a lot took place over 4 years, right, of us dating. And we continued to date up until I did go off to college. So if you don't know, I went to Clark Atlanta for college. I graduated high school a year early, finished high school early, graduated, and worked all throughout my senior year. So I had a lot of free time. Right? Had a lot of free time, but always planned and knew I was going straight to college once I graduated from high school. So, just a little background on the relationship and how it wasn't always toxic, I guess. We had a lot of great times, a lot of friends and family. Like we really enjoyed each other. We really experienced a lot growing up together. Not always bad. I say that to say things were not always bad. But I think I want to say some of the like very first times like aggression started was when he was dealing with certain things within himself.
To be able to not get violent when things are down. So I understand she's analyzing the past and everything, but you got to understand you can't give people a pass. Oh yeah, he's whooping my butt, but he's going through a hard time. You can't. That cannot even. Those two things can't even go together. It's 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 that's not your you're not supposed to take abuse just because somebody's having a bad day. Let me just put it like that. Here we go.
There were things that he dealt with personally with his family. And obviously, as a young man, a young Black man, someone that may not have always necessarily been in the right places or around the right people. And I'm not bashing him at all, but I'm just saying all
No,
of
those are called red flags. You're not bashing anybody by waving a red flag. In fact, there's nothing wrong with bashing somebody who's doing the wrong thing. In fact, the key is to do that so you acknowledge that there's something wrong and you don't need to be around that person. Otherwise, what happens.
all of this to say that at some point things were not okay anymore. And I think that a lot plays into that, right? A lot
Usually
of
things
trauma,
were going down before you really acknowledge that they were going down. Then let me keep it going. Here we go.
a lot of negative environments and just negative things, negative people that impact your life as you're growing up, as a little boy, as a teenager, growing into a young adult. All of those things play.
Do you notice how she's defending this young man who turned into be a monster, which is no fault of her own? You can't do that.
A huge role in how you become, right? So things started getting negative. And I can't even really pinpoint exactly when, like an exact date that things started getting bad and ugly, but things started getting bad and ugly. So it started with, the disrespect, the calling me out of my name, the B words, and I'm not gonna cuss on this video. But things like that, calling me out of my name, disrespecting me,
What she didn't
right?
realize is that was the real him all the time. He was cool because everything was going away with her. Funky. The real him came out, and that's what it doesn't seem like she really acknowledged that. Let's find a whole lot of show to go. But I want to play you. This is like what you're seeing right here. And as a young lady who's describing a situation which very well could have turned into the John list.
Think are small in the moment that we can we really don't understand that that's the beginning it worked off like that. There would be disrespectful exchanges.
Said it started.
And
Instead
a
is
lot of
why
times
when dudes start cussing at you and you're in a relationship, it's time to go right then and there because it doesn't get any better. And they're gonna say something like, that's not me. I just lost it for a minute and all that kind of shit. And then that's where you're seeing the real them come out. That's what you're saying.
allow it sometimes, or other times I may just ignore him or not listen to him, whatever. I'm young. I'm a girl. I love him. I want to be loved, and I feel like he loves me. So I feel like, oh, he's just mad, thinking that that's okay. Even though I've never experienced that with my parents, I never heard or seen my father disrespect my mother ever, ever to this day of 28 years on this earth, ever, never, ever. So even though subconsciously,
So the question is why did she give? I'm not saying this in a way that's ridiculing her. It's more like a teaching moment. Why did she give this young man a pass? What was it? Listen, lets us know what happened.
and I knew that wasn't right. Then there were times where
Okay, see this starting off again. I got to reiterate this. There shouldn't be any starting off. She should have been. If looking back, she'll probably realize she should have been gone when the cussing started.
he'd physically be putting his hands on me. There were times where he would physically put his hands on me. And like I said, my parents a lot of times did not know that I was with him. So a lot of times I'd be sneaking with him and sneaking him over my parents' house or sneaking to be over his house. And I think that the reason why certain things happened to me and I was put in certain situations with him is because I knew that that was not what I was supposed to be doing. If you had to sneak and do it, it wasn't supposed to be being done anyway. Things started getting physically abusive between us. There would be times where I find out that he's messing around or find out that he's communicating with other girls or things like that. And of
The
course,
real him.
I'd be hurt, I'd be upset, and things would always get bad. Things would always get bad. There would never be any accountability. It would just be lies. And then it would be, you know, it would be as if I was in the wrong, or like I shouldn't be looking through your phone, or I shouldn't be questioning.
The Kevin Samuels epic "Let a Man Cheat in Peace" theory. So as you can see, the I wanted to bring this in here because it shows you that there is a connection between cheating and violence. So basically, what he was saying to her in a very violent and rude way was, "Let a man cheat in peace. I don't care about you." He did not care about this woman at all.
Questioning you about certain things when girls are coming to me and writing me and all these things, right, are happening. So we would physically get into altercations. There would be times where he would hit me, where he would push me. There was a time literally that there was a time that we got into a physical altercation, and I was leaving and got in my car, and he busted out the window of my car, and I literally went home and told my parents that I made up a whole story of what happened to my window, right? Obviously, I didn't tell them that.
Young lady, I'm sure your parents already knew. They probably knew. They just didn't know what to, you know, what to say, because basically they didn't want to accuse you of definitely as the guys would put it, um, should have chose better. What's funny is that it's the violent men who usually say that phrase, and they're usually the ones that need to be chosen, not chosen. Let's put it that way.
He busted my window out trying to fight me. Um, there would be times where others would be around and it would be physical altercations going on and people have to stop it. It was bad. I can definitely say, like, looking back at everything, it was definitely bad. And I think all parties involved knew it, but maybe just didn't really know what to do or didn't know like what it could lead to. So there were lots of times like that. There were times where I was afraid. There were times where there would be a physical altercation, and then I would be begging and pleading with him to, like, don't leave, or all these things, like not realizing that I was just enabling him and allowing him to think that those things were okay to continue to
Exactly. She nailed it right there.
do them. Those things were happening for a few years, but like I said, we continued to be together. We were off and on, but
Welcome, Susie Bear. Susie Bear in the house. If you can hear my mic, okay, everybody, put a 1 in the chat. Here we go.
we were still together. So fast forward, I get ready. We want to try to make where we still want to communicate with one another and just kind of see where things go. At one
Red headphones in the house.
point, we were like talking about him moving to the same place as me or whatever. While when I came to school,
No, he didn't. No, he,
like we still had hope and we still wanted the relationship to last and the relationship to work.
a supply for him. People who truly love you do not put hands on you like that. Let me keep it going.
College, and him and I had officially like called things off. We were still talking here and there or whatever, but we were no longer together. And I think I had gotten to a point where I was ready to let go, but I still loved him. I still cared about him, and so we were still trying to during a break from college, and I go spend the night at his house. Go over his house and spend the night with him, and for some reason, something inside of me told me that I needed to be done with him. So we start having a conversation, and I tell him, like, I don't want to be involved with you anymore. I don't want to do this.
You don't simply disappear. So many young ladies have passed away because they wanted to announce in person that they wanted to move on to better things. Especially, there's just, you cannot do that.
This with you anymore. A lot had transpired, you all. And I don't know if it was me moving or just God talking to me, telling me that I needed to get out of that situation. So that was going on. And literally, the moment that I said that, all hell broke loose. He didn't want to hear that. He didn't want me to be done. And he didn't want me to leave. And literally that night changed my life forever. It's late at night. It's probably like 1 in the morning. It's like super late at night, right? We're arguing, all this is going on, and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna leave. I want to go home. I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore.
I'm telling you, never make announcements. You want to make that James Bond smooth exit without anybody noticing. No announcements, no speeches, and let them find out through a friend of a friend, and really, because they don't deserve any more than that if they've been treating you the way that you've been explaining to us. Here we go.
Right? So I try to get ready to leave, and he's taking, remind you, I've never in my life experienced any type of physical domestic abuse in any capacity until this relationship. So he's like, no, he does not want me to leave. He's taking my things, he's taking my phone, like I have nothing. So I'm like,
That's the definition of kidnapping.
you know, trying to fight with him to get my stuff. And I finally leave. Like I finally get out of the house, right? I don't have my keys. I don't have my bag. I don't have my phone. I have nothing, literally nothing. So I just take off.
Wise choice. Wise choice.
Like literally go outside, down the steps, out of the house, trying to leave, trying to get away from him. And I start running. I just start running down the road, like literally running. I take off in the middle of the night, running down the road, you all.
Well done.
A few minutes pass by and he comes driving right beside me, telling me, get in the car, you need to come back. You shouldn't be doing all this. You need to come back. Let's talk. Get in the car. I'm not
Remember now, he's already put hands and feet on her several times by this point.
You leave, all of these things, like literally dragging me back into the car.
That's crazy.
So, and I'm not far. I don't get far away. I'm like all the way on the other side of town. So finally I'm back in the car with him, and we get back to his house. And we're arguing, and
never get back in the house with anybody who's that violent.
I'm trying to leave. I'm begging and pleading with him to leave. I just want to go home. I don't want to do this. I don't want to deal with this anymore. I don't want to be with you. I want to go. He's not trying to let me get out of the car at first, but then I get out of the car and he's telling me to get in the trunk of the car. So I'm like refusing. I'm like, no, like, I'm terrified. Why would I be in the trunk of your car? Why would you tell me?
There's only two things violent people put in the trunk of a car: a dead body or a going to be dead body.
To get in the trunk of your car, like, I just want to leave. I'm okay. Like I will walk. I will walk home. I just want to go. And so he puts me in the trunk of the car and he closes it. And I don't know how much time passed by that I was in that trunk, but it wasn't long. It was not long that I was in that trunk. And I'm hitting on the trunk. I'm begging and bleeding, yelling and screaming.
Ladies never get in a trunk
Him
of a lunatic's car
let
ever.
me out. Drunk up. So I immediately, my instincts just immediately push the gun and just get out of this trunk and run. That's what I did. I pushed the gun and I got up and I ran. I ran for my life because I truly believed that that man was going to kill me. So I'm running in the middle of the night with nothing, no phone. I don't even think I had all of my clothes on, no shoes. Like, I'm running for my life. And I'm not going to go into detail of everything else after that, but let's just say I did not call the police. That is definitely still something I regret to this day, because I feel like I allowed him to think that what he did was okay. But I finally get around people and they see me and they like I'm bruised up. I have scratches and stuff all over me. And they call the police. They call the police. And he goes to jail.
Good.
But me being me.
Oh shit. Oh shit. No, you didn't.
Me wanting to save everybody.
Oh no.
Even when people don't deserve to be saved. He was in jail. And this was everywhere, guys. Like, this was on the news. There were people that were making jokes about it and thought it was like not true and thought it was made up. But this really happened. Although he went to jail, I decided to call the detective and told him I wanted to come down and talk to him, that I needed to tell him something about what happened. So I go and talk to him and I tell him none of it happened, that none of it was true. I tell him none of it was true. And he tells me, he literally says to me, do you understand what you're saying right now? I know some not knowing at all that when I went down there to try to recuse him and help him, that I would be putting myself in danger and getting into trouble myself. Because I'm a teenager. I don't know any better, right? And I didn't tell my parents what I was doing. I didn't tell them. And this is like the biggest life lesson for me, because when you do things that you have no business doing, bad will always come from those actions.
Bars. Oh man. T Salt is back. Let's let her break it down. Welcome, Mystic Moon. Mystic Moon in the house. Susie Bear in the house. Red headphones in the house.
Applying pressure around, bitch definitely gonna get sweated around this mother. Yeah, you came to a circle full of pimps. You finna get it too, ho.
If all you want to do is get gas for your car and go home, but you run into a pack of wild animals surrounding you, with nothing better to do than to loiter in front of a gas station, terrorizing the women in their community. Is this the world you want to leave to your daughters, your sisters, your nieces?
I mean, you have to wonder to yourself. I mean, wow. I mean, I'm really torn right now because where are these men that we need to set?
This is why we need to unify and become a separate group from Black men. Because if this was a white or Asian woman, this would never happen. And that's because they have laws protecting them. And Black men know their place. And to those women who believe a Black man will help you out in a physical altercation of any kind, understand the reality that we're in.
So let me clarify this. Are y'all telling us that if you are not related to us, if you are not dating us, if you're not having some sort of physical relationship to us, if you don't find us attractive, if you don't find us polite enough, kind enough, quiet enough, that our lives are worth protecting? Is that what you're telling us? Is that
If you're not my family, I don't owe you nothing.
And for the women who want to continue,
Basically, that's what that gentleman wants to stand on. He wants to go 10 toes down on saying that he's a coward, because that is cowardly, by the way. Any other culture would see that as cowardly. Know that it makes sense to him and people who think like him. But overall, it's like, that's cowardly. It's probably why the reason it is.
you can date them, marry them, you can still have their children, and still be supportive and unifying with other Black women. White women marry Black men all the time, but the loyalty to their race comes first. In order for us to protect ourselves and support each other, we must build our own economy.
Bear made a very good point. Look, ladies, I'm sorry, but the days of going to a gas station at night are gone. Make sure you get your gas during the day at well lit, well kept gas stations, and usually the best area you can possibly find around you. I understand sometimes you may run low on gas, but make it a point to run to places that will protect you. Okay. Um, Gas stations are like one of the number one places that I've seen that that uh firefights happen in the Black community. So try to stay away from them as much as possible.
Those who have shown your support by making a purchase on the website, this means that we're one step closer to open a brick and mortar. And that store will support the neighborhood. So thank you so much.
Shout out. Susie But Black men get involved. I've seen it. They will protect. Um, Sometimes it's negative, but for the most part, straight up. So let me keep it going here. Let's see. Let's let DL Hughley defend people. Hey, happy life in the house. Happy life. Good seeing you. Here we go.
Mary J. Blige, Love No Limit. So a recent report by the Department of Justice, it says something that I think we've always been suspicious of and always known, but now we have empirical data that says exactly what I think a lot of Black people have always known. Black men receive significantly larger sentences than white men for exactly the same crimes, up to 20% more. And they looked at all kind of variables, whether there was violence, whether whether they had previous criminal histories, and invariably it was always the same. If they matched up in terms of violence or criminal history, the Black guy was given more time than the white guy.
I mean, that's
So
really no surprise. I mean, I'm the problem I have is like, are we looking at simply violent crimes, or is this all crimes? I mean, I think it could be all crimes. Let's face it, it's probably all crimes. But I'm torn. I'm torn whether that's a good thing or bad thing. I mean, letting out people like the guy that was beating up on that young lady we're talking about, or or dudes doing that at a gas station. I mean, it's like, do you really want those guys out on the street? You really want to? Do you really? Those are the guys that he wants to give a break to. He doesn't understand that, but those are the guys who are going to get the breaks. Those are the guys who are getting the break. It ain't going to be like some guy who just um, ran a red light or something like that. the Susie Bear says this. Them saying that they will protect you is synonymous to them saying that they will take pleasure in seeing you harmed. That's all that means. Bars. Exactly.
Racism is not just about who calls you the N-word, or racism is not about telling poor jokes, or racism has an imprint that we are want to
So
get
let me
rid
ask
of.
you this. What is worse? What is doing worse damage to Black women in the community? Racism or misogynoir? I mean, think about it. What is really doing more damage to Black women in the Black community? Really, when you think about it, who's doing more damage to Black men in the Black community? So I understand that there is definitely a racial issue in the United States of America, but w- why are we letting that control the way we are? Is that the reasoning? Is that it's racism causing these men to hurt each other, okay, and women in our community? Is that what it is? I mean, you would think we would be more empathetic towards each other, don't you? Let me keep it going. Here we
Up.
go.
It is the idea that just because of the color of your skin, you walk into a courtroom, more likely to receive more time because somebody decides that. So all the changes we've made, and there have been a lot, we've come a long way, but the idea that somehow there's a level of criminality associated with your skin that we haven't been able to work around. That is
Well, I think a good step forward would be for us not to be giving those people fuel to use to be racist. I'm not saying they should be racist. They shouldn't be. But we as men need to behave better. We know that's true. You know that's true. We should be the ones. We should, if there's so many good Black men in the community, if we are so, what am I trying to say here? If there's just multiples of us compared to the bad Black men, shouldn't we be putting the bad Black men? Shouldn't we be uh you know putting them in their place? Shouldn't we can, even with racism, think about it. We could still make, okay, our community safe. Nothing's stopping that from happening. Okay, giving guys breaks, not snitching on hardened criminals is not going to help. we can still make our community safe. There's nothing that stops there's nothing stopping us from that. There's just simply not enough, white guys are coming all over into the hood, attacking men and women. They just don't do that. I mean, if it happens, it's historic. It's like, why is there still crime, a lot of crime in our communities then? If we understand and we know that it's hard for us, shouldn't we be making it easier for each other in the communities? I mean, doesn't that make I mean, that should make sense, right? The community should be it should be hard when we leave the community, not when we are in the community. I need to say that one more time again. It should be hard when we leave the community, not when we're in the community, okay? If we are brothers and sisters, right? Then why don't we act like brothers and sisters, right? Another brother's gonna take another brother down. So, let me break it down like this. Susan, I have always said that I don't care about racism. Black men use this as a deflection, and their act act at it worse, and they act at it the worst thing in the world, that they act like it's worse than them. Right. Being, yep. Let's just put it, demented. And that's the thing. That's my argument. Okay, it's like this. If we want to I mean, the thing is this, is that black women have been giving black men a break for a long time, because basically the thing is this. Right now, it's not racism that is the biggest threat to black women. So when a human being, or when an entity, okay, gets attacked, they're going to find out what's the biggest threat and try to neutralize that threat first, if at all possible. That is not racism. Unfortunately, it should be, but it's not. There are black women get more in within the community than anywhere else. So why should they really help you? Like that young lady I just played before, the one who actually went to jail for, for her abuser. Okay. Why should anybody do that for you? You're not, I guarantee you that to the next woman too. Just thought,
The guy walk into a court, do for exactly the same thing.
Mhm.
We know that according to these statistics, the black guy's going to get more time, even though they have no other way. They have no way to justify it.
yeah, I mean, there's a great way of solving that problem. Is just don't do anything that sends you to a court. Yeah, when we're not gonna, it's like, no, we're not gonna get that break. I can tell you right now, we're not gonna get that pass. We're not going to. They think a lot of A lot of black men, we think that we're going to get the same break that black women give us in court. Don't ask me why. Let's break it down. Let's keep it going. Let's see what else DL's going to say.
They have no way to justify it. So when you see young men on the field taking a knee in opposition to police brutality and injustice, this is what we're talking about. The next time the president,
That didn't work.
instead of telling these young men,
Nope, that didn't work. It didn't work at all. You want to know somebody, you know who laughed at Colin Kaepernick the most? Other black men. I've seen so many black men laugh at him for throwing away his NFL career. That just goes to show you where our mind is at.
that they're disrespecting the flag, they should point out that they're disrespecting their right as American citizens. They're being singled out and treated harsher because of the color of their skin.
The problem is this. Think about it like this. We're going to think about it like this. Who is it's not other races. They might ridicule black women. No, not even ridicule. Who in this country? The key is this. It shouldn't be us. Uh-oh. Welcome to this rendition, part 1 of John List. The man who erased his family. And it sounds so familiar. Here we go.
Westfield police officers arrive at the request of neighbors of the Breeze Knoll Mansion to do a wellness check in the residence for over a month. Police are informed the lights in the mansion have been burning 24 hours a day. In fact, they've been burning so long, many of them have begun to go out. Neighbors fear something is wrong. Gaining access through an unlocked window, police make their way inside. They find the mansion unusually cold and can hear music playing. One of the officers would later explain it as the sounds of a funeral dirge. As they continue their search, they enter the ballroom, where they are met with a sight that none of them would ever forget. 4 bodies lying on the floor wrapped in sleeping bags, placed side by side. As they pull back the covering of the sleeping bags, they discover 3 teenagers and an adult female, all shot at close range.
Wow. Here we go. All right, I'm gonna go past all this epic beginning. Here we go.
They would later learn bodies were arrived. As police continue searching, they make their way to the third story where they find the deceased body of John List's 84-year-old mother, Alma, also shot at close range. Breeze Knoll has now become a major crime scene. The
I
evidence
remember back in the day when we used to say as brothers, like, man, I'm glad we don't do this serial stuff. Well, keep listening a little bit longer. I got some.
technicians, along with detectives, has discovered a blood trail from the kitchen. Is John List's mother, laying dead in the hallway 2 floors above. Now must make a determination if John List is also a victim, or is he the killer? However, their question
Building it up.
Age 45, was married. Robert Creighton Jr., age 45, was married to Athalia Clayton, age 46. Robert Creighton Jr. is an actor who played in various television shows and movies since childhood. He's played in movies such as Mr. Bojangles, Ant-Man, Freeborn, The Staircase, Being Mary Jane, Airborne, and many others.
Damn. Okay. When did this release? Okay.
He also played in over 90 projects on several TV networks such as BT, MTV, TIU TV, PBS, NBC, Hulu, Disney, and OWN Network. He attended an upstate prep school where he did very well in sports. He then started performing in skits and doing comedy before becoming an actor. Robert Creighton had a long history of mental illness and substance abuse.
Uh-oh.
Since 2014, police were called to his home for various reasons, but he was never arrested. Most recently on January 3 in 2022 for an involuntary commitment by his family. Athalia Creighton was a Jamaican American. She grew up in North Carolina and Miami. She was an Army veteran where she served as a sergeant in the 2nd Infantry Division as a heavy equipment mechanic. She studied psychology at North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University, and worked as a certified life coach and interior designer. She also was a public notary for the state of North Carolina.
Damn, she did a
The
lot.
couple had 4 children, 18-year-old Kasim, 16-year-old Nyla, and 10-year-old Nasir. The couple has a 24-year-old son who lives on his own but visits the family home frequently. He will remain unnamed due to privacy concerns. 18-year-old Kasim was the co-owner and co-founder of Only Chase Money Apparel, a clothing and brand design company. Kasim attended Ragsdale High School. 16-year-old Nyla was a talented artist who loved to draw and make crafts. She was extremely creative and artistic. She attended Ragsdale High School. 10-year-old Nasir was known as being a fun person to be around. He had an energetic presence. His favorite pastime was playing with his cousins. Nasir attended Union Hill Elementary School. The family lived at 2734 Mossy Meadow Drive in High Point, North Carolina. High Point, North Carolina, is located primarily in Guilford County. It has a population of just under 115,000 citizens. On Saturday, January 7, in 2023, a young man and woman began knocking on doors begging for help from neighbors. Calls began pouring into the police from the community about the couple asking for help. Let's listen to portions of the 911 call and the dispatcher speaking to police.
There's someone knocking up in front of my house saying someone tried to kill them. Somebody was shot in the house at 2734. The man is saying that it was his father. He said he's sure that he still has the gun.
Officers arrived within minutes. They encountered a young man and woman stating they needed help. The terrified young man told police that he woke to his father pointing a gun to his head. He was able to pull the clip out of the gun. He woke up his girlfriend and they ran from the home. When police approached the home, they found it eerily silent. When nobody would answer, they forced entry. Inside they found Athaliah, Kasim, Nyla, and Nasir all dead from gunshot injuries. Robert Creighton Jr. was also found dead from a single self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. Crime scene investigators spent the rest of the day and into the night processing the scene and gathering evidence. Reporters spoke to the young lady who called 911.
Waking up to that, like you're like pretty scared. I was just like, that's never happened here. And like for it to just happen at my house, especially, it's like, oh my God, like what do I do? So I just decided to call 911 because I was like, I'll just leave it up to them because I don't want to put my life or my family's life in risk.
High Point Police Chief J. Travis Stroud and Lieutenant Patrick Welch spoke at a news conference about the murders.
Multiple victims in an incident, murder-suicide, and my 27 on pushing to 28.
This is just terrible. I mean, how does somebody do this to their own blood is beyond me.
Years in this baseball, we never had anything like this happen before. The closest I could think is back late 95 or early 96, we had multiple homicide incident on the East Green Extension. That tells you how long ago that was. The streets don't even exist like that anymore. You know, we got different pieces of the puzzle we're working on here as a police department now. Number one is the investigative side. That's our primary responsibility, is that crime fighting element to make sure we bring offenders to justice. And I think this case, from what I can tell, all the ends are wrapped up. I think there's going to be a lot of conclusion to go on after this. There'll be questions that will go on after this.
That's just terrible. Straight up terrible. Let me fast forward a little bit.
I know we're supposed to pull in that armor every single day and just sort of push through. And they did. They did a phenomenal job pushing through that day. This is going to be a long-term thing. We have to recover from it. You see that you can unsee. So we'll make sure to monitor our folks, and that'll be an internal effort for our police department through our city. That's a big piece of the puzzle. In this incident,
let me pause that. I got more for you. Very, very eerily similar to the John List incident.
Symbols and signs of sympathy, captioned by candles with the message, Love 5. A tribute to the 5 lives taken Monday morning, and not far from where this memorial stands are the steps where police found the suspect. According to a criminal complaint, Christopher Stokes brought police to the scene with a call to 911 and the chilling words, I just massacred my whole family, and the gun is still upstairs with the bodies. When the first officer got to the scene, the complaint goes on, he asked Stokes if he heard any shots. Stokes replied, the complaint adds, yeah, I didn't hear them, I did them. Inside the home, prosecutors write, police found a Mossberg shotgun, along with 12 spent shell casings, and the bodies of 5 people, all known to Stokes. The youngest, 14-year-old Demetrius Thomas, 16-year-old Tierra Agee, 17-year-old Lakeitha Stokes, 19-year-old Marcus Stokes, and Teresa Thomas, 41. The loved ones left behind want to know why they're all gone.
He didn't deserve it. They didn't deserve it.
That answer is the one thing not included in the complaint, a motive for fire.
Well, Mike, we go from one horrific to another. Now we're moving on to Wisconsin. This is where a man has been sentenced to 205 years in prison for murdering 5 members of his family. According to the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel, Christopher Stokes, who's 44 years old, I just massacred my whole family. And he went on to say, the gun is
That is just crazy.
the body.
This is probably going to be the part 1. I want to talk over this real quick. If somebody wants to come up, just put in the chat, drop link. But basically, you saw what I saw when I was playing the young lady at the very beginning of this live stream is her. And this is what you're seeing at the end here is basically what happens, unfortunately, to a lot of people who have been, near the end of the cycle, unfortunately. We have more films and clips, but I think this is good for now. I have to get up extremely, extremely early tomorrow morning. So I'd like to thank everybody for coming out. This is DJ Torch. I'm out of here. Shout out the Mystic Moon, Uzi Bear, the people in the clouds, red headphones. Thank you for coming through. And Mystic Moon.
Yeah, lead the way. I follow. No need to say where we are heading now, babe. I follow to the edge of it all, to the edge of it all. So tell your goodbye.